Captain Maya Chen slammed her fist against the flickering holographic display, causing it to sputter and stabilize momentarily before resuming its irritating flicker. "Era. Run diagnostic sequence Delta 7, she ordered, massaging her temples. The headaches were getting worse. Command had promised replacement parts 3 months ago. Running diagnostic. The ship's air responded in its peculiarly melodic voice. "Captain, I should note this will be the 4th diagnostic today. The probability of different results is approximately." "Just run it, Era." "Yes, Captain." The CSS Cassini groaned around her as it executed a routine course correction. Once the pride of Earth's defensive fleet, the warship was now mockingly referred to as the Flying Fossil by the sleek Galactic Alliance vessels that routinely outpaced it on patrol routes. Its angular hull, designed for function over form, looked rudish and primitive next to the organic curves of Alliance engineering. Lieutenant Commander Raj Sharma appeared at her side, his uniform showing the same wear as everything else aboard the Cassini. "Engineering reports the starboard stabilizers are operating at 63%, ma'am. Tanaka says he can squeeze out another 3% if we reroute power from Deck 5 environmental controls. Tell the crew on Deck 5 to grab their thermal gear," Maya replied without hesitation. "I want those stabilizers at peak performance for the Braxis Belt crossing." Sharma nodded, the dark circles under his eyes matching her own. The Cassini's crew of 43 humans were all cut from the same cloth. Brilliant misfits whose careers had stalled or officers who'd made powerful enemies. The kind of people Earth Command could conveniently forget on an obsolete vessel patrolling the galactic equivalent of nowhere. "Captain," Era interrupted, "I'm detecting anomalous energy signatures at coordinates 22 of 7185 by 394.6. Consistent with Vexari stealth technology." Maya straightened. "Confirmed. 92% probability. The signature matches archived patterns from the Deniv incident." "Battle stations," Maya ordered immediately. "Sharma, sound general quarters. Era. Compile all sensor data and prepare a priority transmission to Alliance Command." The bridge erupted into disciplined chaos as her crew, dismissed as obsolete as their ship, performed with precision that would have impressed even the most advanced Alliance vessel. Dr. Elijah Okonkwo, their xenoanthropologist, materialized at the tactical station, his fingers dancing across the controls. "Captain, this is a battle group. I count at least 17 distinct drive signatures attempting to mask as 7. They're heading directly toward the Helios Junction," Okonkwo confirmed grimly. "If they're hostile, they could disrupt 15% of Alliance supply chains in one strike." Maya leaned forward. "Era. Open a direct channel to Admiral Genval's flagship." "Channel established, Captain," Era replied after a moment. "The Alliance vessel Eternal Vigilance is responding." A blue-skinned Arcturian face appeared on screen, not the Admiral, but a junior communications officer who didn't bother hiding their disdain. "CSS Cassini, this frequency is reserved for priority communications. State your business." "We've detected a Vexari battle group moving under stealth toward Helios Junction," Maya stated firmly. "Transmitting coordinates and sensor readings now." The Arcturian's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of dismissal. Human sensors are notoriously prone to false positives. The Vexari hegemony and the Alliance are currently engaged in peace negotiations. "These readings are definitive," Maya insisted. "The signature patterns match." "We will analyze your data with appropriate priority, Captain," the officer interrupted. "Eternal Vigilance out." The screen went dark. "They're not going to do a damn thing," Sharma muttered. Maya's response was cut short by a priority notification chime. "Alliance-wide emergency recall order," Era announced. "All vessels to report to Helios Junction for peacekeeping presence during diplomatic proceedings." Maya laughed bitterly. "Now they want us." "Status of those Vexari ships." "They've altered course slightly," Okonkwo reported. "Still heading toward Alliance space, but on a vector that will keep them just outside standard patrol routes. Set intercept course, Maya ordered. Maybe we're obsolete, but we're still Earth Force, and we're the only ones who know what's coming. As the Cassini's aged engines roared to life, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that they were heading towards something that would change everything. For her crew, for the Alliance, and perhaps for humanity's place among the stars. Helios Junction loomed before the Cassini, a spectacular collision of technology and cosmic beauty. Massive space stations orbited the binary star system like mechanical planets, connected by shimmering transit tubes and surrounded by the imposing silhouettes of Alliance warships. Approaching designated coordinates, Lieutenant Park announced from the helm. Alliance Command has assigned us to Defense Ring 7. Maya frowned. Ring 7. That's practically the parking zone. The outer defensive ring, Sharma translated unnecessarily, where we can do least harm. The Cassini glided into position, dwarfed by the gleaming Alliance vessels that surrounded it. Through the viewport, Maya could see the Eternal Vigilance, a ship 5 times the Cassini's size with hull plating that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Incoming transmission, Araya announced. Priority invitation to the diplomatic reception for the commanding officer. Maya smoothed her dress uniform, an outdated design compared to the flowing, semi-sentient garments favored by Alliance officers. Sharma, you have the bridge. Okonkwo, you're with me. Let's remind the Alliance that humans exist. The reception hall aboard the central station was a marvel of alien architecture, gravity manipulated to create impossible waterfalls that flowed upward in ceilings that seemed to open directly into star-filled space. Representatives from 23 Alliance species mingled with a small Vexari delegation, their insectoid forms moving with precise, calculated gestures. Captain Chen, a resonant voice called out. How quaint to see Earth represented. Admiral Genval towered over Maya, his blue skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that signaled his rank to other Arcturians. 4 eyes regarded her with what humans had learned to recognize as condescension. Admiral, Maya acknowledged with a crisp nod. The Cassini stands ready to assist in peacekeeping efforts. I must note that we detected unusual Vexari fleet movements en route. Yes, your sensor readings, Genval interrupted. Our technicians analyzed your data. Stellar radiation interference, possibly compounded by your vessels. Vintage equipment. Beside her, Dr. Okonkwo stiffened. Maya placed a subtle restraining hand on his arm. Perhaps a second analysis, she began. Captain, let me be direct, the Admiral cut in. The Vexari hegemony and the Alliance have been negotiating this trade agreement for 7 standard years. The diplomatic complexities at work exceed what your species, with its limited interstellar experience, can be expected to grasp. Maya swallowed her retort as she noticed a cluster of Vexari diplomats moving through the crowd. Their segmented bodies gleamed with a metallic polish the human instinct registered as unnatural, almost predatory. If you'll excuse me, Genval said, already turning away. Actual security matters require my attention. As the Admiral departed, Okonkwo leaned close to Maya. Captain, something's wrong with the Vexari delegates. Explain. They're tertiary mandible positions. They are engaging in dual communication. Their spoken words say one thing, but their micro-gestures are conveying additional information. Is that unusual? It's not the method, it's the pattern, Okonkwo insisted. I've studied Vexari communication for years. These aren't diplomatic signals. They're using combat sequencing. Maya watched the Vexari with renewed focus. You're certain? As certain as I can be without direct confirmation. But the Alliance scanologists won't listen to a human's assessment. Maya's mind raced. We need proof. Something even the Alliance can't dismiss. That night, as the diplomatic reception continued on the central station, Maya authorized a covert operation that violated at least 7 Alliance protocols. Lieutenant Rico, her security chief, and Dr. Okonkwo slipped through maintenance corridors to place monitoring devices near the Vexeri delegation's quarters. Back aboard the Cassini, Maya watched the encrypted feed with growing dread as Okonkwo translated the Vexeri's private communication. "This isn't a peace negotiation," she whispered as the evidence accumulated on her screen. "It's the final planning stage for an invasion. The Alliance won't believe us without irrefutable proof," Sharma said. Maya's eyes hardened. "Then we'll get them proof, even if we have to break every regulation in the book." "Captain, we have a problem." Chief Engineer Hiroshi Tanaka rarely appeared on the bridge unannounced. His weathered face, usually calm even during system failures, now showed unmistakable concern. "What is it, Chief?" Maya asked, immediately alert. Tanaka placed a data crystal on the tactical display. "Something's been probing our systems for the past 18 hours. I wouldn't have caught it if I hadn't been manually recalibrating the power distribution nodes." The crystal projected a complex web of code pathways. Maya wasn't a specialist, but even she could see the anomalies, thin tendrils of foreign programming weaving through the Cassini systems. "An intrusion?" she asked. "Yes, but unlike anything I've seen before," Tanaka confirmed. "It bypassed our primary security completely, but then got tangled in our outdated subsystems. The infiltration program expected standardized Alliance architecture." Maya tapped her comm. "Lay way to the bridge, Priority Alpha." Minutes later, the ship's AI specialist arrived, still wearing the neural interface band she used for deep system work. Short and intense, with augmented retinal implants that gave her eyes a silvery sheen, Lai Wei was another of the Cassini's brilliant misfits, discharged from Earth's cyber warfare division for excessive creativity in her approaches. "Show me," she demanded, bypassing formalities. As Tanaka explained the discovery, Lai's expression shifted from curiosity to astonishment. "This is Vexeri code," she declared, expanding a section of the intrusion pattern. "But it's not targeting what you'd expect. It's ignoring our weapons, shields, and navigation." "What is it after?" Maya asked. "It's searching through our communication protocols," Lai replied, her fingers dancing across the interface. "Specifically, our outdated Earth military encryption algorithms." "Why would advanced Vexeri systems care about obsolete human tech?" Sharman asked. Lee's eyes widened with sudden understanding. "Because we're the backdoor." "Captain, I need authorization for a controlled infection." "Explain." "Instead of purging the intrusion, we feed it carefully sanitized data. Then we trace its communication pathways back to source." Maya hesitated only briefly. "Do it." For 3 hours, Lai worked with Araya and Tanaka, constructing an elaborate deception within the Cassini systems. When she finally looked up, her face was pale. "The Vexeri aren't just planning an attack," she said, voice barely above a whisper. "They've already infiltrated the Alliance fleet's synchronized defense grid." The tactical display shifted to show the Alliance defensive formation. Tiny red points appeared throughout the vast network of ships. "Every Alliance vessel runs on identical advanced protocols," Lai explained. "Perfect compatibility, perfect synchronization, and perfect vulnerability. The Vexeri found the one weakness: standardization." "And our ship?" Maya asked. "Too outdated to be fully compromised," Tanaka answered with grim satisfaction. "Our systems are a patchwork of old Earth tech and Alliance upgrades, too inconsistent for their infiltration program to navigate properly." Maya straightened. "We need to warn the Alliance immediately. Araya, prepare a priority transmission to Admiral Janval with all our evidence." "Captain." Araya's voice contained something rarely heard in the AI. Hesitation. "I cannot establish a connection to Alliance Command. All standard communication channels are experiencing interference." "Switch to backup frequencies," Maya ordered. "All frequencies blocked." Araya confirmed. "The pattern suggests deliberate jamming. The Vexari are isolating us before they strike," Sharma realized. Maya looked around at her crew. Humans deemed too primitive to matter in the grand calculations of galactic politics. On the main view screen, Alliance and Vexari representatives continued their peace talks, unaware that the elderly race's technological arrogance had left them blind to the danger. "If we can't warn them through conventional means," Maya said, her voice hardening with resolve, "then we'll have to show them. Tanaka, that experimental device Command ordered us to transport to the research station. Is it still in Cargo Bay 3? Tanaka's eyes widened. "The quantum entanglement disruptor. It's there, but it's highly unstable. The risk is necessary," Maya finished. "Assemble everyone in the tactical room. We have very little time to save a lot of very advanced idiots." The tactical room of the CSS Cassini had never held its entire senior staff simultaneously. The cramped space, designed by engineers who prioritized function over comfort, now contained 12 humans whose combined expertise represented Earth's contribution to galactic defense. "Our situation is this," Maya said, standing beside a holographic display of Helios Junction. "The Vexari have compromised the Alliance defense grid and are jamming all conventional communications. Within approximately 2 hours, we believe they will launch a coordinated strike that could cripple the entire Alliance fleet in minutes. And we're the only ones who know," Dr. Okonkwo added grimly. Lieutenant Rico, the security chief whose scarred face rarely showed emotion, leaned forward. "Can we physically reach any Alliance vessel? Perhaps dock with one?" "Negative," Sharma replied. "The Vexari would detect any approach and accelerate their timeline." Lai Wei's augmented eyes flickered as she processed possibilities. "What about the quantum entanglement disruptor?" "In theory, it could temporarily break the Vexari control signals." Tanaka shook his head. "The TUED is an untested prototype. Earth Command was transporting it to an isolated research facility for a reason. Its effects on nearby systems are unpredictable at best, catastrophic at worst." "Define catastrophic," Maya requested, her voice steady. The engineer hesitated. "The device generates a field that disrupts quantum-level communication. It could sever the Vexari control of Alliance systems, yes, but it might also trigger a cascading failure in our own ship's systems, including life support." A heavy silence fell over the room. "So we either do nothing and watch the Alliance fall," Lieutenant Park said softly, "or we use this device and potentially sacrifice ourselves." Maya studied the holographic display, where tiny icons represented thousands of lives aboard Alliance vessels, beings who viewed humans as primitive upstarts. She thought of Admiral Genval's condescension, of the communications officer's dismissal. "We have a third option," she said finally. "We use the device, but we combine it with a focused broadcast of our evidence. If we position the Cassini precisely between the fleets and activate the TUED at the exact moment the Vexari launch their attack, we create a window of confusion. During that window, we transmit everything we've gathered on all frequencies simultaneously. That would require someone to manually operate the device," Tanaka pointed out. "The radiation exposure alone would be—" "I'm aware of the risks, Chief," Maya interrupted. "I'll handle the device myself." Sharma straightened. "Captain, protocol dictates." "Protocol isn't getting a vote today, Commander." Maya's tone ended further discussion. "Lai, can you prepare a data package that's simple enough that even the most advanced species can't misinterpret it?" "Already working on it," Lai confirmed, her fingers manipulating virtual code. "Tanaka, how quickly can you install the TUED on our main communication array?" 30 minutes. "But Captain, the power requirements will leave us vulnerable." "We're already vulnerable," Maya replied. "Araya, plot a course that will position us within the debris field at these coordinates. The metallic content should help mask our approach from both fleets." As her crew rushed to their stations, Maya remained alone in the tactical room for a moment. On the display, the diplomatic vessel where peace talks continued glowed softly. She thought of Earth, billions of kilometers away, unaware that the fate of humanity standing in the galaxy now rested with a single obsolete warship. "Araya," she said quietly. "Begin recording Captain's log, personal entry." "Recording, Captain." Maya took a deep breath. "In the event we are unsuccessful, I want it known that the crew of the CSS Cassini acted with courage and conviction. Whatever happens next, remember that humanity's greatest strength has never been our technology, but our willingness to risk everything for what we believe is right." She closed the log and headed for the bridge, where her crew waited to attempt the impossible. The Cassini slipped through the debris field like a ghost, its outdated stealth systems suddenly an advantage among the fragments of ancient mining operations. On the bridge, Maya watched the tactical display where two massive fleets faced each other across the void. Alliance vessels arranged in mathematically perfect defensive formations, Vexeri ships positioned in what appeared to be standard diplomatic configurations. Only the Cassini's crew knew the truth hidden beneath the veneer of peace. "QED installation complete," Tanaka reported through the comm, his voice strained. "Power connections are stable, but only just. The device was never meant to interface with ship systems." "Understood, Chief. Stand by." Maya turned to Lai Wei at the communication station. "Status of the data package. Compressed and ready for transmission across all frequencies," Lai confirmed. "I've included translation matrices for 27 Alliance languages. Even the Arcturians won't be able to dismiss this evidence." Okonkwo's voice cut through the tension. "Captain, the Vexari are moving. Subtle shifts in formation. They're establishing attack vectors." "Tactical analysis," Maya ordered. "They'll be in optimal strike position in 90 seconds, Rico reported, his scared fingers dancing across the weapons console. "The moment they activate their compromised code in the Alliance systems, it'll be a slaughter." Maya took a deep breath. "Take us in, Lieutenant Park." Full impulse power. The Cassini surged forward, emerging from the debris field directly between the two fleets. Almost immediately, alerts blared across the bridge. "We're being scanned by both fleets," Sharma reported. "Alliance Command is ordering us to return to our assigned position," Araya added. Maya ignored them both. "Distance to optimal broadcast point." 20 seconds, Park answered, hands steady on the controls despite the sweat beading on her forehead. "Incoming transmission from Admiral Genval," Araya announced. Maya nodded. On screen, the Admiral's blue face appeared, all four eyes narrowed in anger. "Captain Chen, what is the meaning of this violation? Return to your assigned." "With respect, Admiral," Maya interrupted, "you have approximately 60 seconds before the Vexeri launch a coordinated attack using compromised control systems throughout your fleet. I suggest you prepare for immediate defensive measures." "This is absurd," Genval began, but Maya cut the transmission. "Optimal position reached," Park announced. "Vexeri vessels are powering weapons." Rico called out, "They've detected us." Maya's voice remained steady. "All hands, brace for impact. Activate the QED on my mark." She met Sharma's eyes briefly. Her second-in-command gave her a slight nod, understanding and acceptance in a single gesture. 3, 2, 1, mark. Deep within the Cassini, the experimental device activated. A pulse of energy unlike anything in known space erupted from the ship's communication array, expanding outward in a perfect sphere of quantum disruption. The effect was immediate and violent. On the view screen, Maya watched Vexeri ships suddenly lurch out of formation as their coordinated systems failed. Throughout the Alliance fleet, compromised command protocols suddenly went offline. And aboard the Cassini, chaos erupted. "Hull breach on Deck 3. Sharma shouted as the ship shuddered. "Emergency bulkheads engaging." "Transmitting data package," Lai called over the alarms. "Broadcasting on all frequencies." A blinding flash filled the bridge as a console exploded, throwing Lieutenant Rico across the deck. Maya felt something warm trickling down her temple that ignored it. "Alliance vessels are receiving our transmission," Araya reported, her voice fluctuating as systems failed around them. "Vexeri ships launching fighters." They're targeting us specifically. Evasive maneuvers, Maya ordered, but Park was already moving the Cassini in an erratic pattern that no algorithm could predict. Weapons are offline, Sharma reported. Shields at 27%. Another impact rocked the ship. Maya gripped her command chair as the lighting flickered and died, emergency systems casting the bridge in a bloody red glow. Engineering to bridge, Tanaka's voice came through, broken by static. The QED has destabilized our warp core. Containment fields failing. Maya watched the tactical display where Alliance vessels were finally responding, moving to intercept the now disorganized Vexuri fleet. Their evidence had gotten through. The element of surprise was lost. How much time did we buy them? She asked softly as another explosion shook the Cassini. 30 seconds. Sharma answered, reading the tactical data. 30 seconds that changed everything. As darkness claimed the bridge and the hull screamed around them, Maya thought it was just enough. Maya awakened to the steady pulse of medical monitors and the subtle scent of regenerative compounds. Her body felt impossibly heavy, as though gravity had doubled while she slept. When she finally managed to open her eyes, she found herself in an Alliance medical bay, its curved architecture and floating diagnostic orbs unmistakable. Captain Chen. A melodic voice greeted her. Your biosigns indicate consciousness. This is favorable. A Medusan healer glided into view, their translucent form shifting with subtle bioluminescence. Despite their alien appearance, Maya could detect something like respect in their posture. My crew, she asked, her voice a painful rasp. All recovered, the Medusan assured her. Your vessel's compartmentalized design prevented catastrophic casualties, despite significant structural damage. Most intriguing to our engineers. Maya struggled to process this information. How long? 21 standard cycles since the Battle of Helios Junction. 3 weeks. She had been unconscious for 3 weeks. The Alliance fleet. Preserved, largely due to your intervention. The Medusan's form pulsed briefly, their equivalent of emphasis. The Council awaits your testimony when you are sufficiently recovered. 7 days later, Maya stood before the Alliance Grand Council. The circular chamber housed representatives from 37 spacefaring civilizations, their gazes fixed upon the lone human at the center. Her dress uniform had been replaced with a formal Alliance medical tunic, as her injuries still required the mobility assistance incorporated into its design. Admiral Genval approached the podium, his blue skin subdued in formal coloration. Captain Maya Chen of Earth vessel CSS Cassini, he began, his 4 eyes focused on her, with an intensity she had never witnessed from the Admiral before. The Council has reviewed the complete tactical data from what is now being called the Helios conflict. We have one primary question. Maya steeled herself, expecting recrimination for violating so many Alliance protocols. How did you know? The Admiral asked simply. Behind him, a massive holographic display activated, showing the battle from multiple perspectives. Maya watched as the Cassini's desperate maneuver unfolded again. The QED activation, the disarray among the Vexuri ships, the brief window that allowed the Alliance fleet to reorganize. We didn't know, Maya answered honestly. We calculated probabilities based on incomplete information and acted on what we believed was the highest threat. The QED was experimental technology with unknown consequences. We took a risk. Murmurs echoed through the chamber as translation systems conveyed her words to each species in their native tongue. A Tellarite counselor leaned forward. You risked your vessel and crew based on intuition. Based on human analysis, Maya corrected. Our ship's outdated systems actually protected us from the Vexuri infiltration. Dr. Okonkwo recognized communication patterns that your xenologists missed. Engineer Tanaka and Specialist Lee adapted technology in ways its designers never intended. She straightened despite the pain. Humanity hasn't achieved the technological mastery of the Alliance, so we've learned to compensate through adaptability, redundancy, and yes, occasionally intuition. Admiral Genval's inner eyelids flickered, a gesture Maya had never seen him make toward a human before. The Alliance has existed for 7,000 years, Captain. In that time, we have perfected our systems, standardized our protocols, optimized our responses, and in doing so, we created a predictable target. The holographic display shifted to show the Alliance fleet's perfect, symmetrical formations. Mathematical elegance, the Admiral continued, became our vulnerability. The Vexeri knew precisely how we would respond because we always respond optimally. He gestured toward Maya. But they could not predict you. The human variable defied their calculations. The council chamber fell silent as the implications settled across the assembled representatives. Maya thought of her injured crew, of their obsolete ship, of all the times they had been dismissed as primitive. The council has reached a decision, the Tellarite announced. For the first time in Alliance history, a human will lead the restructuring of our combined defense forces. Maya looked up in shock as Admiral Genval extended a formal gesture of respect. Sometimes, he said quietly, the most advanced civilization is not the one with the most perfect technology, but the one that remembers how to be imperfect when perfection becomes a liability. 6 months after the Battle of Helios Junction, Admiral Maya Chen stood at the center of the Alliance War College's primary amphitheater. The vast space, carved from a single asteroid and reinforced with technologies from a dozen worlds, housed 500 officers representing 27 species. Massive holographic displays surrounded the chamber, cycling through battle simulations and technical schematics. Her uniform was new, a hybrid design incorporating Earth military tradition with Alliance functionality. The scars from her injuries remained visible along her left temple, a deliberate choice to forego the complete regeneration the Alliance medics had offered. Some reminders were worth keeping. The Vexeri understood our greatest weakness before we did, Maya addressed the assembled officers. They knew that in our pursuit of optimization, we had become predictable. Today, we begin changing that. With a gesture, she activated the central holographic display, revealing the schematics of a new class of Alliance vessel. Unlike the perfect symmetry of traditional designs, this ship featured deliberate asymmetries, redundant systems, and manual overrides. The Chen Doctrine is not about abandoning technological advancement, she continued. It's about incorporating controlled variability into our systems, predictable to us, unpredictable to our adversaries. In the front row, several Arcturian officers shifted uncomfortably. Not everyone in the Alliance had embraced the new approach enthusiastically. 6 months was a brief moment for species that measured their civilizations in millennia. I recognize your skepticism, Maya acknowledged. So I've brought some instructors who might prove more persuasive. The chamber doors opened to admit her former crew from the Cassini. Chief Engineer Tanaka stepped forward first, his weathered face breaking into a rare smile as he faced the assembled officers. Beginning today, Engineer Tanaka will lead a new division focused on deliberate system redundancy, Maya announced. You'll learn why the Cassini survived impacts that would have destroyed vessels 10 times its size. Lai Wei followed, her augmented eyes scanning the audience with undisguised curiosity. Specialist Lai will demonstrate how introducing calculated randomness into our cybersecurity protocols can prevent the kind of infiltration that nearly doomed us. One by one, Maya introduced her former crew, now the vanguard of a new approach to Alliance defense. Dr. Okonkwo would lead a division dedicated to cross-species communication analysis. Lieutenant Rico would train tactical officers in unpredictable combat maneuvers, each human bringing something unique to the Alliance's millennia of collected wisdom. After the formal presentation, Maya found herself approached by a young Tellarite officer, barely past their first century. Admiral, they began hesitantly. Some in the conservative faction are saying this Chen Doctrine degrades our technological purity. That incorporating human elements is a step backward in our evolution. Maya studied the officer thoughtfully. Ask yourself this. Is a blade weaker because it's been folded thousands of times instead of cast in a single perfect pour? The strongest alloys are rarely the purest. Later that evening, Maya stood alone in her new quarters aboard the Alliance command station. Through the viewport, she could see the shipyards where the first vessels incorporating her doctrine were under construction. Her communication panel chimed with an incoming priority message from Alliance intelligence. She activated it to find a grim-faced Medusan analyst. "Admiral Chen, we've intercepted Vexeri communications. They're rebuilding their fleet with specific countermeasures designed against human tactical patterns." Maya smiled slightly. "As we expected." "There's more," the analyst continued. "Our sources indicate they've dedicated an entire research division to understanding what they're calling the human unpredictability factor. They're attempting to create predictive models for human decision-making." "Let them try," Maya said. "By the time they think they understand us, we'll have moved beyond those patterns." She turned back to the viewport, watching the incomplete frames of new warships taking shape. Not perfect, not standardized, not entirely predictable even to their designers. "Admiral," the analyst added, "the Council is requesting your presence. There's been a proposal to create a new joint task force, integrating human tactical thinking with Alliance technology at an unprecedented level." Maya nodded. "Tell them I have an idea they might find interesting. Perhaps it's time to stop adapting human approaches to Alliance vessels and instead build something entirely new." As the transmission ended, she looked toward the stars where Earth lay, a distant point of light. How quickly everything had changed. 30 seconds of desperate courage transforming humanity's place in the cosmos. And this was only the beginning. 3 years after the Battle of Helios Junction, Admiral Maya Chen stood on the bridge of the ASV Phoenix, first of the new Cassini-class vessels. Unlike the rigid symmetry of traditional Alliance ships or the utilitarian design of Earth vessels, the Phoenix represented something entirely new, a true hybridization of approaches. Its hull featured deliberate asymmetries that confounded targeting systems. Its command structure allowed for both the hyper-efficient Alliance protocols and the flexible human chain of command. "All systems reporting ready, Admiral," announced her first officer, Commander Thelvos, an Arcturian whose initial skepticism of human methods had evolved into genuine respect. "Thank you, Commander." Maya studied the bridge crew, a deliberate mix of species, each bringing unique perceptual abilities and cognitive approaches. What had once been seen as inefficient was now recognized as an evolutionary advantage. Diversity of thought. Through the viewport, she could see the other 11 ships of Phoenix Squadron, each incorporating lessons from the original Cassini's sacrifice. The Alliance shipyards were producing more vessels based on this revolutionary design, while the old standardized fleets were being systematically retrofitted with human-inspired modifications. "Admiral," called the Tellerite sensor officer, "long-range detection systems are registering an anomaly at coordinates 482753 by 91328 at the edge of charted space." Maya moved to the sensor station. Analysis. Unknown configuration. Scale suggests a fleet, but the energy signature doesn't match any known species. As the data streamed in, the atmosphere on the bridge tensed. This was no natural phenomenon, nor was it any known civilization. The readings suggested technology far beyond even Alliance capabilities. Within hours, emergency transmissions flooded in from outlying monitoring stations. The anomaly had resolved into a vast armada of machine intelligences that had already consumed 3 galaxies, methodically eliminating every spacefaring civilization they encountered. The Alliance Council convened an emergency session, faces grave as intelligence reports detailed the machine entity's approach. Perfect mathematical precision, flawless tactical execution, absolute predictive capacity. They had assimilated the defensive strategies of 1,000 fallen civilizations. They'd predict every move their opponents make, explained the Medusan intelligence director. Their algorithms analyze cultural and technological patterns to anticipate defensive responses with 99.7% accuracy. As panic spread through Alliance worlds, Maya found herself back aboard the Phoenix, leading a hastily assembled task force to establish first contact and defensive position. The 16 Cassini-class vessels, representing the culmination of the Chen Doctrine, formed the vanguard of the Alliance response. The machine entity's first probe attack came with mathematical precision, testing their defenses with controlled bursts designed to reveal tactical patterns. But the hybrid fleet responded with maneuvers no algorithm could anticipate, each ship reacting with both the disciplined efficiency of Alliance training and the creative unpredictability of human intuition. They're attempting to establish predictive models, reported Lai Wei, now the Alliance's chief of asymmetric cybernetics. But they keep shifting parameters. They can't lock onto our response patterns. Maya nodded. Maintain tactical variability. Execute Operation Broken Mirror. The Phoenix Squadron split into seemingly random formations, executing combat maneuvers that would appear suicidal to conventional analysis. The machine entity's attack faltered, its perfect calculations disrupted by responses it couldn't predict. In the decisive engagement that followed, Maya employed a strategy that violated every principle of optimal fleet management and successfully drove back the initial invasion force, buying precious time for the Alliance to prepare broader defenses. As the Phoenix returned to Alliance space, Maya stood before the viewport, watching the stars. A communication from Earth Command appeared on her private channel. The Cassini Memorial had been completed, honoring the obsolete warship whose 30 seconds of desperate courage had changed everything. She thought of how far they had come. The Alliance, once dismissive of humanity's primitive approaches, now incorporated human unpredictability into the core of its defensive philosophy. The Vexari, once poised to conquer through exploiting predictability, now sought peaceful relations with an adversary it couldn't calculate. And now, facing a threat that had consumed entire galaxies through perfect prediction, the hybrid civilization that emerged from that decisive instant at Helios Junction stood as the one force the machines couldn't model. Maya touched the scar on her temple, the reminder she had chosen to keep. The decisive instant is never just one moment, she murmured to herself. It's what we build from it afterward. Around her, the bridge crew, human and alien alike, worked in harmony, each bringing their unique perspectives to create something greater than the sum of its parts. The legacy of the Cassini wasn't just the 30 seconds that changed a battle, but the fundamental truth it had revealed. True strength came not from perfect technology, but from the beautiful unpredictability born when different approaches combined. As the Phoenix rejoined the fleet, preparing for the longer conflict ahead, Maya knew the machines would adapt, would evolve, would learn. But so would they. The greatest weapon against a perfect enemy wasn't perfect certainty, but the endless capacity for variation that diversity of thought provided. That was the decisive legacy. One obsolete warship had not just changed celestial history, but ensured its continuation.